as now the move by governors in the southern part of Nigeria to stop open grazing intensifies. On Monday, the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, signed the bill to prohibit open grazing and trespass of cattle on land in the state into law. Well, by this action, Lagos has joined the League of States in southern Nigeria to have anti-open grazing law in place. Well, the law is coming more than 2 weeks after the September 1st deadline set by the Southern Governors Forum. Well, let's share the story of the signing of the bill by Adedoja Salam Adeniyi with you. All right, it seems we're yet to have that report. Well, let's quickly continue with our discussions here in the studio. Babajide, with the signing of this bill now, do you think perhaps, let me ask this question. What do you think about this bill? How effective do you think it will be to curtail these issues of farmer-headers clashes in the South?
Well, by conception, I could say that it's a well thought out idea. We must do whatever we can to stop the constant friction between farmers and herdsmen. We call it farmer headers crisis, but actually what goes on, what is happening is trespass on farmers' farmlands. When you march your cattle into people's farmlands, you've committed an act of terror against such people, because you can imagine if you and I decided that we were going to farming and we didn't have a piece of land, and we walked up to BC and said, BC, we understand there's a piece of land that you are not using currently. Esther and I would like to use it to farm. And she said, okay, at this time I'm ready to sell. And we bought a piece of land from her for a hefty sum. After that, we decided to plant on it. We planted beans. Just when it was getting close to harvest time, the criminal herdsman decided to march cattle into
the farmland.
Mark my words, I said when it was getting close to harvest time. Now, having pinned your hopes on harvesting bountifully from that piece of land that BC sold to you or to both of us, how would you feel if someone just decided to match his cattle on that farmland and decided to eat our crops, eat everything that we planted? Your blood will boil. This is what, in fact, there are people who never recover from such attacks on their means of livelihood. When herdsmen complain about cattle rustling, it's as bad matching your cattle onto people's lands or farmland is as terrible as cattle rustling. It's the same mental agony that you face that the farmer faces, because you set him back, all the hard work gone. So this is what we are saying. In Kwara State, for example, there was the Nigerian retired naval general. Not only did they eat up his crops, they also set the farm ablaze. And why? Because they know when you set the farm ablaze, it triggers a fresh sprouting of grass, which is
good for the cattle.
Yes. So you can imagine. You are destroying people's lives. And that's why, based on the loss of lives that we experience from time to time when these people, when farmers and herdsmen tango, governments, state governments are now saying, look, we've got to do something about this. So that's why Lagos State, after the House passed the bill on the 9th of September, Governor Sanwo-Olu has now signed it into law. It's not a big problem in Lagos. Lagos does not even have
cases of such.
They don't have expansive forests and farmlands like other states, like other states. But the governor does not want it to happen here. It's not a problem here per se. We hardly read about that. But at the same time, the government believes that this should not even be allowed to happen. It's not going to wait until it comes before it takes action.
All right, that's it. So, Olabisi, apologies. Now that we have this, signing done in Lagos State, presumably we should also be seeing the same thing in the other parts of the southern region of the country. But, before the signing, the Cattle Association, the Breeders Association, have raised concerns that if this comes to be, the price of cattle will go up to as much as 2 million naira per cow. And that means people will find it very difficult to afford even maybe just a portion, or maybe say a kilogram of meat, for instance, to cook. So what are your expectations? Do you think perhaps people should, use or go to another alternative, or what do you make of what's happening?
Well, I would say that is sheer blackmail to start with. I mean, to say that because of signing into law of anti-grazing bill, or because you are prevented from doing open grazing, then it means that automatically the price of cow will go to 2 million naira.
Well, the reason why he says so is because most of the cows will be ranched, and it is quite expensive to, take cattle from ranching cattle rather, as against moving them from place to place.
It depends on his understanding of ranching. What is ranching? It's keeping these cattle in one particular place and now providing their food for them. It's not going to, initially, you may need to spend some money, but looking at it from the business perspective, you also know that this is a business venture. And interestingly, it has been proved from studies that cattle that are ranched produce better. Mm-hmm. They get greater fat, they grow more easily, and you can even sell them
at a
higher price and at an earlier time than the ones that walk about. Because those ones that are just trekking for 1 million kilometers, they have even trekked all the nutrients in their body as they are going about. So for me, well, but if they must sell for 2 million naira, good luck to them. You understand? Good luck to them. Whoever can afford to buy, we buy, and those who cannot afford to buy, we look for alternatives. After all, cow meat is not the only meat in this world.
So what other alternatives do we have if we were to live?
We have bush meat, we have fish, we have turkey, we have chicken, we have different kinds of fishes. You can even, maybe people can even decide to be having small fish ponds in their compounds. You don't even need to be inside water to do fish pond now. They use rubber tanks. We will innovate and we will get things. We will even eat more healthy food. After all, they tell us that fish and all the rest, white meat is better than red meat, and cow isn't it red meat. So let's even fast for our people to stay alive. If we need to fast off cow, then it's not a bad idea. At least let people be alive, then let there be peace. Then let's run this business as it should be run. Let people know that cattle, the business in cattle is a business, and you cannot continue to discomfort other people for your own comfort, and you cannot continue to claim ownership of other people's property just because you are doing your own business. Just look at the analysis that Babajide did. You cannot be killing other people's businesses for your own to thrive. So it's a good thing, no matter what it brings. Let's just prepare ourselves.
Right,
Babajide, look at Wasiu, and the musician. Yeah. This is his farm. He's not practicing open grazing. So it's camel. They are fed at the same spot, everything that they need. The vet doctors will come and see them right there. Those ones that are roaming about, which vet doctor takes care of them? You know?
Yeah, with this, bill, is it, let's look at implementation. That is another key area now. It's one thing to sign this bill into law. It's another thing to implement this bill. Do you think perhaps we have that commitment to implement the bill or implement the law, as it were, so that people can sleep, with their two eyes closed?
In Lagos
and also in other parts of the South?
The level of implementation may vary from place to place. The level of implementation in Oyo, for example, because Oyo is a very big state compared to other southwest states, is easily the biggest state in the southwest and one of the biggest in the south. So Oyo is big, and there are so many grazing areas. Some of them inherited from even the First Republic administration. So headers had always targeted that area. Oyo is like the food basket of the southwest. They always targeted that area, But in Lagos, the entire grazing area is very small. Lagos is the smallest state in our country, and the grazing area is small. So in such a situation, I fancy the chances of the security agents effectively enforcing the law here in Lagos. And when you also look at even the police in Lagos, in terms of the way police is run in Lagos, is the best I've seen of all the states in our country. The RRS, very well organized, they have technology, they have everything to do their work well. Now, you go to Ondo State, the governor of Ondo State has already shown clearly that he's not messing around over this matter. In fact, the day after the bill was signed into law, arrests were made. Which is like he's saying, look, I'm not joking about this matter. So the stipulations are there. The government in Ondo State, for example, is saying, come and acquire land on lease for you to do your ranching. You register your cattle. If any cattle is seen roaming around our streets, it gets arrested and it will be auctioned for sale publicly. So the stipulations are there. The Lagos law is also saying that you must not be found with an assault rifle, an assault weapon, like AK-47, for example. What are you doing with AK-47? That means you are out to kill. If you get caught, it's a long jail term. So there's enough deterrence by the letters of the law. But as I agree with you that the devil is in the implementation of the law.
Absolutely. But let's take this call. We have David on the line from Lagos. David, if you are there, please go ahead with your contribution.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good
please
evening,
go ahead.
Dave.
I'm David calling from Lagos.
Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations for the award.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes, God bless you very much. Well, that's an indication that the entire world is enjoying your programs and also the value you are adding to our lives and the security of Nigeria also.
Thank you.
That's number
bless
one.
You.
Yes, I want to say that the herdsmen, they are justifying the reason why they are carrying AK-47 and the rest, just to prevent cattle rustlers. In the same way, assuming the farmers also are also carrying guns and AK-47, just staying in their farms also to prevent the herdsmen or the cows from grazing on their farmlands, destroying their futures. It should have been a different ballgame entirely. So I just want the herders to understand that the pain they get when the rustlers come, that's exactly the kind of pain the farmers also get when their futures are being destroyed. Thank you very much. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much, David, for that contribution. Finally, Labisi, what's your final thoughts on this matter before we go to the next issue of discussion?
Yeah, I think Lagos State government needs to do more than what they have done right now. They need to also do a lot of publicity and public enlightenment around the provisions of the law, so that people will know what the provisions are and what the punishment is, and how they can also report, because the security operatives might not be everywhere at every time, so that if you see others, you know, around your community doing this or doing that, this is the former channel of reporting the problem and all of that. I think they should just do that and also focus on the implementation of the law, so that it doesn't appear as if just a law that is there just for being their sake.
And for those who do not understand exactly how this will affect them, for instance, the cattle rearers, now they feel that, oh, it is all targeted at their business. How can they be assuaged, you know, to understand what this law means, not just for them, but for the unity of the country as a whole? What would you suggest?
Yeah, I think I will also encourage enlightenment campaigns. You know, you can organize meetings with these others. You can go to meet them where they are in their markets. They even have associations, and they have communities where they reside. Just try to persuade, to talk to them, let them see reason. At least that is a good way of communicating, because sometimes we have problems when we don't communicate well. Somebody is perceiving something else, whereas you are doing something else. So let's just breach that gap in communication by doing the enlightenment campaigns and services. And I know Lagos State knows what to do.